Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're going to continue our conversation about the builder's journey. We have been walking through the 6 stages that every business goes through, from the soil stage all the way to the flourish stage. We're up to stage 2 today, which is the seed stage. Previously, we've gone over the soil stage, and then there was an overview video. And so if you're just joining us today for the first time, you want to make sure that you go back and you watch the 2 previous videos just to make sure that you're up to date as we move forward. So again, today we're talking about the seed stage. Now, every business begins with a dream. Every business begins with a dream, but not every dream becomes a reality. And we've seen that in our lives, right? The seed stage isn't about launching big. It's about making sure that you're planting the right thing. A seed doesn't look like the fruits that it's eventually going to produce. Yet within that seed is the DNA of the fruit that's going to come forth from it, given time, the proper nutrients and nourishment, right? The structure, the purpose, the potential, all of that is already coded into that seed. The very DNA is written into it. And if that seed is planted without clarity, what happens is that we bring forth fruit, or we spend years growing something that doesn't reflect who we are or who we feel, or what we feel called to do. And so it's very important that there is the appropriate time and attention that is placed into this seed stage to make sure that what we are growing and building really reflects what's important to us. This is the stage where so many entrepreneurs begin to lose momentum because they skip direction and they begin to run right into action. And you really can't do that. There are stages, there are steps, there is a way of progressing through something if you really want to have the maximum success in it. Or some entrepreneurs find themselves getting caught in a swirl of just having too many ideas, too many concepts that they're working with, and they don't have clarity. And you guys by now have heard me talking about clarity all the time. It's like clarity is one of my favorite words. Without clarity, what starts as inspiration can quickly become a burden or something that is challenging and difficult because we're not sure how to move forward. We're not even sure what we're trying to do. And that's why this stage really matters. Now, a physical seed, as I said a little bit earlier, a physical seed contains everything that is needed to become what it was designed to be. An acorn, for example, doesn't bring forth a tomato, but it brings forth an oak tree. And it's so beautiful when you really just consider how nature works. But when you look at that little acorn seed, all you see is something very small and minuscule. You do not see that gigantic oak tree that it's going to become. Yet hard coded into that small, simple seed is everything that is needed to become a gigantic oak and to flourish. In the same way, your business needs its DNA defined early. You have to be able to find the particulars about what you're trying to do early on. This is where we develop the blueprint, if you will. The blueprint is where you're clarifying that DNA, where you're hard coding the things that are important for the business in its inception. And we're talking more than just a business plan, but we're talking about a vision that is really aligned, a roadmap, a direction that you're able to follow as you progress through the stages of growing your business. And this is why in the builder's journey, I guide you through the ideal business snapshot. I've talked about it in a previous video. That snapshot is really important in helping you to design the DNA of your business. It helps you to clarify a few things. Number 1, what are you building? Number 2, who is it for? Number 3, what does success really look like for you? Right? How will you know when you have reached a place of success? It's a fabulous resource. And again, it's in that builder's blueprint that you can find in the description. You can find a link to it, I should say, in the description below. Because if the truth about growing a business is this: if you don't define it, the world will define it for you. And you don't want that to happen. You want to be able to define what you're trying to build, how you're going to build it, what is it for, what success looks like for you, all of those things. You don't want somebody else to do it for you. Now, here's what not to do in this season, right? You listening? You don't want to jump from one idea to another idea, chasing what is trendy. You don't want to launch prematurely so that you can feel productive. You don't want to get stuck in perfection and never actually commit. There's a statement that I really love. I heard it years ago, and I always think about it at various times in my life. And it talks about not getting caught up in the paralysis of analysis, right? And that's the same thing we're talking about here when we talk about not getting stuck in perfection so that you never actually commit. You also don't want to get stuck always analyzing things so that you become so paralyzed by analyzing things that you never really pull the trigger. And lastly, you want to build your business based on your vision and not someone else's. And I've talked about that in various forms as I've gone through the previous videos, because I think that is so important, and that is such a danger. That's such a danger. So, I harp on it a bit. You're going to have to excuse me. Sorry, but not sorry. Seeds don't just grow because you water them once, right? If you think about a physical garden, you don't put the seed in the ground, water it, and then you're gone for weeks upon weeks or months and expect something to grow. In order for it to grow, there's constant nourishment. There's constant care that you're going to have to give to this seed that you've planted. The seeds grow because the environment is right and the seed itself is sound. I want to say that again. Seed grows because the environment is right and the seed itself is sound. Let me give you an example. We bought some seeds and, so we're doing some gardening. We are doing gardening, and we had some older seeds that were just kind of around the house. And we said, let's use these seeds first. So we used them up. And when we planted those seeds and we're watering and we're doing all the things, those seeds did not grow. The seeds were not sound. And that's such an important thing. When we talk about the seed stage, we want to define something that is sound and that is viable. We want to make sure that we're not spending our time nurturing a seed that is not viable either, that is not sound, because that too is a waste of time. And so again, in this seed stage, we want to make sure that the environment that we're growing is correct, it's right, but we also want to make sure that the seed itself is sound. The seed stage is all about alignment before exposure. Again, I want to say that it's about alignment before exposure. And I want to go to the Bible again, because there's a story that comes to my mind that I believe does a good job of illustrating what we mean by this. And it's found in 2 Samuel. I think it's chapter 18. Now, for those of you who are familiar with the Bible and things in the Bible, you know that in the Old Testament, there was a king by the name of David. And he had a son, Absalom, and Absalom turned against him. And there came a time, and I'm skipping a lot, but there came a time when Absalom was killed, right? Absalom died. And David was not present when his son died, but David's general was. And the general wanted to send a message to David to tell him that his son had died. So the general chose a man to go and carry that message. But there was another guy that was hanging around whose name was Ahimaaz. And Ahimaaz said, hey, I want to go and I want to carry the message to the king that his son is dead. And David's general, whose name was Joab, he said, listen, you cannot go. And he's like, no, I want to go. I really, really want to go. And he said, you cannot go. You can't deliver this message in essence. But the guy was pleading so much that David's general Joab, he said after a while, he said, you know what? Go ahead and run. Go ahead and tell him. So this guy, Haimaz, sets out and he is running. I mean, he is faster than Usain Bolt as he is carrying this message. And he overtakes the initial runner that Joab had sent. And he reaches before that runner does. He reaches David. And David is like, okay, well, what's happened? Tell me what's happened. And Ahimaaz could not deliver the message. He could not deliver the message. He was so adamant about running and getting this exposure. But when he got the exposure, he was not able to deliver the goods. And so many times when we think about building something, we're so adamant and anxious about getting exposure, having people know who we are, having our names in the lights, if you will, that we fail to spend the time necessary to make sure that when the exposure comes, we're really able to leverage it. When the exposure comes, we really have a message that we're able to articulate, and we're able to articulate it clearly so that the audience, those that are listening, can be benefited. And so the seed stage is really making sure, again, that we are in alignment before we seek just exposure. Now, this season requires a few things. It requires a willingness to sit with the vision even when it's not yet validated. And what we're talking about in that is giving something a time to really prove itself. This is sitting with the vision before you have the sales numbers to back it up, before you may have all the metrics and the praise and the testimonials and all of that stuff. It's really sitting with the vision and giving it time to develop before you decide that it's not going to work and decide to pivot. So that's number one. Number two, you want to have the courage to say no to distractions and stay the course. Say no to distractions and stay the course. We don't want to be following shiny objects. We don't want shiny object syndromes. That is not the way to go. Number three, we want the discipline to define success before the market does it for us. We want to define what success is, because success for you may not be the same for someone else. And you want to make sure what success is. For some people, success may be, I need to be in the 7-figure club. Someone may say that, that's not what it means for me. If I can be in the 6-figure club, if I can be able to get home at a decent time and spend some time with my family, that's success for me. I don't have to be on the Forbes magazine. I don't have to be on the Inc. 500. I don't need any of that. And so you want to make sure that success is defined for you so that the market and someone else isn't doing it for you. And I want to also say at this point that it's easy to confuse motion with momentum. It is really easy to confuse motion with momentum, because when we're doing things, we feel active. There's a sense of, we're being productive. This is a good thing. But as we've talked about in previous videos, not all motion is good motion. So in the seed stage, we want to make sure that there is intentional motion, that we're being thoughtful about what we're doing, what we're designing, what we're trying to build, because you're not just doing, you're deciding. And in the process of doing and deciding, you're becoming. And we're going to talk about that in future videos, what I mean when I talk about this concept of becoming. So how do you know if you're in the seed stage? Well, you might be in the seed stage if the following is true about you. Number one, you're full of ideas, but you don't have one focused direction. Number two, you've started things before, but nothing's really stuck. Number three, you're still defining your offer, your audience, or your business model. And number four, you keep asking, should I do X or Y? Instead of just committing to a path, you're in this place of indecisiveness. And if you're still not sure, am I in the seed stage, you can ask yourself this question. Have I clearly defined what success looks like and who I'm building for? Have I clearly defined what success looks like and who I'm building for? if there's no to any of these questions or even all of them, then this is your season. And here's what I want to say at this point as well. When you stop rushing past the seed stage, you are able to see things really begin to shift in the business as well. And I want to talk a little bit about what changes when you embrace the seed stage rather than running from it. One of the things that you'll see that changes is that you'll stop comparing your baby business to someone else's scale up. You'll stop looking for the next big idea and start committing to the right one. The right one. I am telling you, let me stop here. You guys that have been watching, you know by now that I have these little moments where I got to jump on my soapbox and I got to talk about some things for just for a moment or a little while. And here's one of them, this idea of committing to something and not looking for the next big idea. There's a terminology out there, people can classify themselves as serial entrepreneurs. And indeed, we have some true serial entrepreneurs, those that have grown a business, grown it, seen it to flourishing, and might have exited from it. And then they're starting something else, right? But there's also people that use that term about being serial entrepreneurs when the reality is that they're just impatient, right? So they start something and I've given it 6 months to a year. Nothing's happening with that. Let me go over here. Do that for another 8 months. It's not moving forward as fast as I would like it to do. And so let me move to the other things. And then when they introduce themselves, they're like, we're serial entrepreneurs. No, you may just be impatient. And there's something to be said about having a vision, having something that's in your heart that is so strong that you are going to sit with that thing, whether it takes months or whether it takes years to see that thing come to fruition. This is why we can admire the likes of Thomas Edison, right? Or Henry Ford. They did not come up with some of these innovations and inventions overnight. No, they sat with it for years and they were so convicted that this was the thing that I needed to do that they remained committed in spite of the obstacles and in spite of the hardships that they were facing. And I believe that that's what we need more of when we talk about building businesses. We need people that are not so quick to pivot, but that are willing to sit with the thing because they're convicted that that is the thing to do. The last thing that changes when you embrace the seed stage, I've come off of that. I've come off of that soapbox, but you never know. I might get back on one during the course of this video. We'll see where we go from here. The next thing that changes when you embrace the seed stage, you gain peace, not from knowing everything, but knowing your direction. I am telling you, there is such peace. There is such contentment in being clear on your direction, even though you're not sure how you're going to get there. But when you know that this is a path that I have to go, the confidence that comes with that is just absolutely phenomenal. So here's something that I want you to think about and journal this week. Have you defined what success really looks like for you? Or are you chasing someone else's version of it? Have you defined what success looks like for you? Or are you chasing someone else's version of success? And if you haven't done your ideal business snapshot, then that is your next step. It'll help you to name your vision, help you to align with your values, and help you to plant the right seed before you get too far along the road of building. Every thriving business began with a seed, but it's not enough to plant. You have to make sure that you're planting with intention. I want you to download the free Builder's Blueprint so that you can get clarity on what you're building, the 6 stages that your business will go through, and you can start really hard coding the DNA of your business through the ideal business snapshot. Because your oak tree starts here with a seed that is full of purpose and that is full of intention. And when you plant the right thing, growth will come in its time, because that is the law of sowing and reaping. So we want to make sure that we're sowing the right seeds so that we can have a harvest that we can really enjoy and embrace. So I want to encourage you to download your free business blueprint. The link is in the description below this video. Grab it, do it. Actually, not just grab it, but make sure you're reading it and make sure you're doing the activities in it. And if there's another entrepreneur that you know can really benefit from the things we're talking about, share this video, share this channel, share the link to the free download so that they can take advantage of it as well. Next time we come together, we're going to be looking at the third stage. Until next time, continue to build and continue to become. Bye-bye.